We're live.
Right. Well, it has been a couple of weeks already. We were just commenting right before the call how quickly this has gone by. Um, so I guess with that we can jump in. Welcome to the Autonomous Network Developer Sync, biweekly sync. Um, I was looking at the kind of overall announcements to make. I usually start off with, and Jim had them all in the community updates. So I'm just going to start off with going to Jim with the community updates.
Well, I didn't mean to steal your thunder, Jeremy. Next time, feel free. You can cross some out if you like.
There you go.
Okay, so from the community. So hot topics first. As usual, we're getting kind of quite repetitive with this, but no one's kind of experiencing any problems or any common problems with farming. We're getting the odd kind of edge case or helping new farmers get set up. Which is always, we love to do that, so that's absolutely fine. We have seen an interesting issue with someone trying to set up a new node on Taurus. Not sure what the problem is there, but they're unable to connect to any node. So yeah, you can see that unfolding in the Taurus testnet channel. We are also seeing more people registering operators. I know that we opened the kind of interest pre-registration form recently, and I want to point out that we know that the Astral interface for staking is not quite ready yet. I think Mark's going to give us an update on that. But having said that, I want to say thanks for the feedback so far. It all helps. It absolutely helps, giving us that kind of stake wars shakedown. And as I mentioned, there is a form in Discord. If you go into the stake wars section in the operators channel, there's a pinned message there with a form where if you provide us with an email address, I will make sure that you get a notification when there is something that you need to do. Yeah, so hot topic's not a great deal this week. I do want to talk about our Aurora Buildathon, which is something that is very exciting that Emil's been working on for a while. It was launched last week on developer office hours. If you haven't watched it, you can find it in our social feeds channel on Discord or on our YouTube. And we plan, so it started last Wednesday and it's going to run for several months. This is part of our you've probably heard me mention this before, but part of our builder outreach program, the biggest and best that we've done so far. And the Aurora Buildathon specifically is going to have lots of exciting ways to participate. We're going to have workshops, so our regular office hours calls are going to be handed over to Emil. And we're going to be running some workshops there where you can kind of come on and see how things work and an opportunity to ask questions. We're also going to be running hackathons. More on that in a second. And of course, this is your opportunity to give us feedback and help us design the next iterations of our developer tooling. So please do join us. Just come along and check out what's going on. Maybe it's something will spark your imagination and you'll want to get involved on a deeper level. Speaking of hackathons, we are partnered with Secret Network and running Hack Secret 5. Now this is our first kind of I guess what you call like maybe external facing hackathon before we run them with the community. Yeah, we partnered with Secret Network and we are part of Hack Secret 5. Started on the 1st of February, which is the 10th now, but there is still plenty of time. It doesn't end until the 1st of March. And just before we reach that date, we're going to be culminating this Hack Secret 5 with a hacker house at ETH Denver. We will have, the Hack Secret 5 has a 15,000 USD prize pool, 5,000 USD of which is dedicated specifically to autonomous tracks. We have 2 tracks, Unstoppable AI Agents with our Autonomous Agents framework. And then the second track is Building with Autodrive, how to use that permanent decentralized storage that all of our farmers are providing. So please do check out the Dora Hacks page, which I will pop in the chat in just a moment. And yeah, come and find us in the developer chat channel on Discord. or any of our socials. Anywhere you see myself or Emil or any of us hanging out, we'll point you in the right direction. So yeah, very exciting for us. And speaking of which, developer office hours this Wednesday. We had hoped to announce the Auto Horizon winners. I just want to let everyone know that that is now tentative, just because of the standard and the quality of the submissions we've had. There's actually a lot of content there, and we want to make sure and do the job justice. So we may push that back a week. But fear not, because there's still plenty going on the call, because we're going to be holding our first workshop introducing the developer tooling available on the Autonomous network. So we're going to be touching on how the network hangs together, the SDK, how you access storage and the consensus chain, and also a bit on that Autonomous agent framework, which one of our tracks is built on. We did have some requests actually over the weekend to spitball some hackathon project ideas. And we can ideate on suggestions. We can certainly hold time on the call, and we can even come up with a wish list. But most success we found will come from working on something that you're excited and passionate about. So we'd love to see, what you bring, your ideas, and we are there to help you realise them. So myself and Emil, we cruise the developer chat all the time. If you want to chat through any ideas you may have, maybe you want to keep it on the down low, actually, feel free to DM us as well if you're worried that you've got something that you want to keep quiet until you submit. But yeah, please do join us on Wednesday at 1600 UTC for the first Aurora workshop. Finally, an East Denver reminder. So I touched on this earlier, but as well as the hackathon, we will be available to meet up with our community of farmers and token holders. So we are, it's not just Emil and myself. We're going to be there, boots on the ground at the Hacker House, but there will be more team there. And also, I'd be very happy to take some time out of the Hacker House to come and meet you. So please reach out to us on our socials if you'd like to connect at East Denver. But of course, developers are our main focus. So you're very welcome as well to come and say hi at the Hacker House, where we're going to be running some live workshops. And also very relevant to the call, we're going to have some engineering team there. So some of the questions that maybe Emil and I can't answer, we're going to have the backup available to give us the information we need. That's everything from the community. Thanks, Jeremy.
Thank you, Jim. Looking forward to hanging out at the Hacker House. I know, on this call, there's actually quite a few of us who are going to be there. Carlos will be there. Mark will be there. I'll be there myself. I think I'll have the shortest travel time of anybody, being based here in Denver, which will be nice. All right, moving on to project highlights. So we are rapidly approaching kind of readiness for what we call phase 2 of our mainnet launch, which is really centered around the launching of domains. Along with that, we've got some milestones to hit and just check boxes to check off. So one of those, of course, is an audit. Daria, you want to catch us up on where we are with the audit?
Yep. You jumped on the boring stuff right away. Yes, we are working on the audit, and we are, as many of you may know already, working on the audit with a pretty reputable firm in the space, the Security Research Labs, that have been our partner for auditing for like as long as I can remember. They have, I guess, read our code base more times than maybe we ourselves have done, and they are currently auditing the XDM. They are protocol for messaging between consensus chain and EVM, or between consensus and the domains or other two domains, and mostly currently used for getting wallet balances from your consensus account to your EVM account. And they are actually almost done with that. They have only found a few issues that one we have already fixed and deployed, and another one we are discussing with them to fix. That's basically around handling nonsense and making sure that XDM messages don't just like hang around in the network for forever and get dropped if they're way too far in the future. But just moving along. And after that, they have finished XDM. They're just going to continue reviewing all the pull requests that we do in the code and make sure we don't introduce any security issues before phase two launch, which we don't plan to.
Great. Audits are maybe boring until they're not. So, or until they're not properly done, or something gets through. So,
True, it's much
it's
better to have a boring audit that's very fun
yep.
um,
And
leak of somebody's tokens. So
uh,
yes, okay.
and nonce management doesn't really get much more exciting than nonce management. So, I think I was discussing this with Saeed last week. All the different ways. Yeah. Um, Great. Okay, so maybe more exciting. We've been working on, we have, everybody knows we have an EVM domain. It was, now I've already forgotten what we used to call it, Nova, and now it's just EVM. But that, the reality is we can have all kinds of different domains within our ecosystem. Um, Moving a little bit away from just the plain vanilla EVM is that we are actually going to be offering a private EVM. So, Ved, do you want to catch us up on where we are with that? Maybe what some use cases are for that, and yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we recently started working out on the private EVM. The main goal of private EVM is that if you look at our public EVM right now, anyone just come in, they can create contracts and everything that Ethereum provides or EVM provides. Now, private EVM is most focused on having a little bit of permission around the contract creation, so that the domain owner has a full control over who can actually deploy contracts and who are allowed to deploy those contracts, so that it remains private for that specific use case itself, rather than clogging up all other different contracts that is not required. We are almost done with the initial development of private EVM, maybe another PR on like a few more changes there. Once that's done, our next plan is to actually have it deploy on our local DevNet. Let our devs just test it out, see if we have everything set up right. And once that's successfully done, then we'll move on to the Taurus test network. That would ideally go in as part of an upgrade. And yeah, once the private EVM instance is up and running, then anyone can just simply create their own private EVMs if they want to. Yeah.
Great. All right, moving on to Carlos, Auto Drive, continually making upgrades, updates, new features. So what's new? What happened in there?
Yeah, so the last few weeks, the last report was about the deployment to mainnet, and after that, the most important features that have come into place has been the shareable links that basically enables a user to upload a file and get a link from to that file that could be shared with anyone, or you could like put it on a tweet and be shared. And this was like a good feature because there was no good solution for sharing and for making that file accessible for other users. And now with this feature, we enable that ability. And yeah, later on we have some more things in the back, like improvements, refactorings, and that kind of stuff. And the real focus was like trying to solve and improve the scalability of the backend, like the caching layer of AutoDrive.
All right. So I guess for the shareable links, what was the first use case was that we're sharing our white papers? Is that right? On the website with
Yeah,
that permanently stored on the Autonomous mainnet. So uh, everybody should start sharing their white papers. We get rid of DocSend. Is that the competing, and use Autonomys. So, all right, Mark, Astral. So Jim alluded to a bit to what you've been working on in preparation for Stake Wars. Do you want to kind of go into some detail where we're at?
Yeah, before with bridging with the AutoDrive, now that AutoDrive can have public links, that also means that I will soon deprecate the file data stored in the file indexer in Astral. So I know some of the developer had started using the GraphQL endpoint to fetch the data and then rebuild the file. That chunk table will get deprecated. So that use case will not work anymore in the future, and we'll need to use the AutoDrive package to do so. Regarding the staking interface, I mean, it's a constant work in development, but at this point, it's getting much more stable. You can see the total staked for each operator. You can nominate, you can redraw. The last part that I still need to map at the indexer level, and then to display more accurately on the front end is the unlocking part. So it's always harder to test because there's a almost 2-day worth of domain block time to wait every time you request a withdrawal to be able to unlock your funds and see your funds. And the same thing at the SDK level, we changed the auto consensus SDK package to adapt to the new redrawing extrinsic redraw stake. Now we are able to redraw percentage, all, or a number of share, or an amount of stake. So on the front end at Astral, I made a slider that it used to be a slider for the amount of share. It's hard as a user to know exactly the amount of share you have, and it's less user friendly, let's say. So I changed it for a percentage of your stake, or you can select all or button with like 25, 50, 75%. So that works as well. So at this point, we can test, almost the entire flow, except the unlocking that's not yet well show on the user on the Astral, but it's working as well. So yeah. So that's for Astral. We also changed the icons on the homepage, and I fixed a bunch of small issue. There was someone had pointed out on the developer channel that if you were on the staking and clicking on operator, it was not showing. So that's going to be fixed today. Same thing, search on some of the field were not working, so that should have been fixed over the weekend. Yeah, sorry, I cut you off.
Oh, no problem. So one of the other, well, we'll move on a little tangentially related. I believe you have also been working the SDK on XDM, and that will be a feature soon coming to Astral. Do you want to kind of catch us up where we are on that, what that entails, and
Totally. We deployed last week the first version of the AutoXDM package, allowing to transfer from consensus to domain and domain to consensus. Once you're on domain, transferring to EVM, you can either transfer to your substrate-based address or to an EVM-based address. The package has made it much more easily, where there's different function depending what you're planning on doing. To have like the proper types inside of it. And we're looking into integrating into Astral right now. Personally, my focus was on staking, so I made it as an issue that we were waiting for anyone to contribute. Someone has said that they were going to work on it, but as soon as staking is implemented, I will focus more energy on implementing it to Astral if it's not done by then. So yeah.
And this does highlight that XDM is live on Taurus, meaning you can send funds from consensus chain to the EVM domain and vice versa. So if anybody is wanting to do development on the EVM domain and needs funds on that beyond maybe what you can get from the faucet, you can farm some on the consensus chain or get some on the consensus chain and move them to the domain chain. And this can be done. It's not nearly as easy as it will be once we have an interface, but you can do it via the Polkadot.js apps I don't know, Emil, is Emil still on here? Or did I just see him drop?
And I was going to say the opposite around, right? Like right now, if you're not a farmer and you don't really want to, run a farmer,
Yep.
but you want to build something that needs consensus token, you can use the faucet and then transfer yourself token over consensus as well.
Yep. Emil, do we have the XDM process in the docs somewhere using Polkadot.js? Sorry to put you on the spot.
Using Polkadot?
Yeah.
I don't think so. Yeah, but using the so I've added documentation on using the Autonomys key to cross domain.
Okay. It's pretty self-explanatory on Polkadot.js. I think if you ask in Discord, probably somebody will be able to help you if you can't figure that out. So, all right. Agents. Saeed, there's been a lot happening there. I see
Yeah.
you've got quite a list here to discuss.
It's an actual fast-paced environment. So the version 0.22 just released on Friday. So if you're running an agent and you wanted to upgrade, please read the README because there are some simplification on a config file, and you have to catch up with that. About the flow, so we got very good results regarding the Autonomys flow. So actually the agreement and argument agents of Autonomys right now, both of them are working in Autonomys version. So basically they are deciding to fetch the file from which tools and planning for their next actions. From the technical side, we had some efficient using of context size. So as everybody know, that there is a hard limit in LLM for the context, which is, I believe, is around 200K tokens. So right now is we made some optimization regarding that. It's summarizing based on the parameter that you set on a config or when you are instantiating an orchestrator. For example, after it hit like 20 messages inside the context, it's going to be summarized the first 10, and the context size is going to be 11. So the current tool that I believe Jeremy is working right now is Scheduler, which is really exciting that you can like send a message to the agent to schedule a task in the future, and it will be pick it up on the right time and will starting to executing that. So I believe like Jeremy, here, do you want to have some comments on that?
Yeah. So one of the things that we added last week, we've been moving just to, I guess, back up a little bit. We've had this what we call directed Twitter flow, which has been kind of scripted. The agent's doing things, but only within confines of what we told it to do. And so it would go check messages, and then it would decide if messages were worth responding to. It would do this on some sort of set schedule, so every 60 minutes, every 30 minutes. So what we've moved towards with giving it more autonomy is rather we give it a high level goal, engage a Twitter community, and then it decides how to go about that. It also, rather than saying, hey, do this every 60 minutes, it can decide when to do it. I will highlight that, so that's the scheduler tool. What I call part one is that the agent itself says, we should do these things in 30 minutes. One of the struggles we've been having is with giving autonomy, just like any of you that have children, as you give the kids more autonomy, they do things maybe that they want to do, but maybe you didn't want them to do. So this has been my frustration or struggle with agreement and argument over the weekend as I've been shifting from software engineer to prompt engineer and kind of psychologist. So, but the next iteration of the scheduler workflow is going to actually be able to allow for mini tasks to be scheduled, either self-scheduled by the agent or potentially suggested by trusted users such as myself or Mark with Hindsight or Saeed or you with your own agent. So finding this balancing act between autonomy and directed has been fun and interesting, but also a little frustrating. So if you're following argument, you can probably see some changes in behavior recently that were that maybe I liked the outcomes better when I scripted it, but just like if I tell my children exactly what I want them to do and they listen to that, that I like that outcome better. But the reality is that they want autonomy, so and we are
Yeah.
autonomous.
Cool. So we have Twitter or X right now, but the two upcoming agents is for Gmail and Slack. So actually, it will be able to read all of your Gmails and respond on behalf of you if you'd like. And also the Slack that it can sit besides us in all of the channels and listen to us and come up with some suggestions if he suits. So about the memory, we integrated vector database completely. So we are capturing all of the messages which generated by you as an initial prompt or by the agent. So it's kind of like we are referring to it as a midterm memory because the short term is within the context of LLM and the long term is on DSN and AutoDrive. So the midterm is a vector database. Over the weekend, I was successfully implemented that you can have some metadata, and the agent will be filtering, can generate a query and filter the specific memories based on some metadata. For example, I wanted to see something regarding X over the past 2 hours or something like this. So I will open the PR today, and you can try it out. And in our roadmap, we wanted to have some package registry for tools and agents because that would be great and suits with our design that you can create your tools or create your agents and we can like seamlessly integrate it with your orchestrator. And final one is fine tuning the weakest model over the past memories or learned experiences that we have generated for argument, that we can get a good results for at least some specific task on DeepSeek or on, for example, 7 billion parameters, instead of relying on Claude, which is the only LLM that we get very good results. And I guess O3 Mini also came up with some good results, but basically we wanted to have some open source LLMs, which is fine-tuned specifically over the past memories for the agent. Yeah.
And to follow up a bit on that, as we're moving towards more autonomy for the agents, whether that's in decision making, in choice of infrastructure and permissionless infrastructure, so like the DSN for long-term memory management. And ideally, we would not be so dependent on centralized infrastructure for the LLM itself. Right now, Claude 3.5 Sonnet is just about the only model that you can get really reliable, kind of autonomous, when it's in autonomous mode, get really reliable results. So anything we can do to speed up reliability of weaker models and maybe models being run locally or being run in a TEE is really going to be a big focus of ours going forward. The step of reliance on the centralized infrastructure is hopefully a very temporary step. All right. Well, we've made it to I think the end of the agenda here. Is there anybody else wanted to
I
highlight?
definitely want to highlight the fact that I'm very happy that every 2 weeks the live viewer count is growing very fast. We hit the 200 live viewer today. It's pretty amazing. So I'm very happy about that.
I have a feature request. If anybody from StreamYard is listening, I would like to have the ability to thumbs up or like
on
Google
Google
Meet
Meet.
has. Yes. So I feel like that's missing. I go looking for it every time we're on one of these calls. So I was going to thumbs up that. I think I saw Jim did. That's exciting to hear. So, all right. Well, we will be back. Actually, yeah, we will be back in 2 weeks. Some of us will be, well, I'm always in Denver, but some of the rest of us will also be in Denver for that. So we will see who all can make it to the call. I think it should be workable, even though people will be traveling. So we'll see you all back in 2 weeks.